I need to get this off my chest because it's been eating me alive for days. I don't even know where to start, but I guess I'll just dive in. This is long, so bear with me. I'm still processing it all. I, 32 me, haven't been home in 6 years. Not because I didn't want to, but life just happened. I moved across the country for a job after college, chasing a career in software engineering that promised stability but ended up being a grind. I'm in Seattle now, and my family's back in a small town in Ohio. The distance, both physical and emotional, grew over time. Calls got shorter, visits got rarer, and eventually it was just texts for birthdays and holidays. I'm not proud of it, but that's the truth. I got caught up in my own world. Work, friends, a failed relationship that took 2 years to unravel. You know how it goes. My dad's always been the rock of our family. He worked 35 years as a high school math teacher, the kind who'd stay late to help a struggling kid or coach the chess club just because he loved it. He's not perfect. Gruff, stubborn, not great at saying I love you. But he's the guy who'd drop everything if you needed him. So, when I heard through the grapevine, aka my cousin's Instagram story, that he was retiring and they were throwing a big party, I knew I had to be there. No question. I hadn't seen him or my mom, my sister, or my brother in years. This felt like the moment to show up, to bridge the gap I'd let grow. The thing is, I didn't get an invite. Not a text, not a call, not even a, hey, you should come from anyone. At first I brushed it off. Maybe they assumed I was too busy, or maybe they thought I wouldn't care. My sister Jess, 29F, and I had a falling out a couple years back over something stupid. Money I lent her that she never paid back, plus some harsh words on both sides. My brother, Mike, 34M, and I were never super close. He's the golden child, married with 2 kids, living the life mom and dad always seemed to admire. I figured they'd at least mention the party to me, but nope. Radio silence. Still, I wanted to surprise them. I pictured it like a movie. Me walking into the backyard, Dad's face lighting up, Mom crying happy tears, maybe even Jess and I patching things up over a beer. I booked a red-eye flight, took a week off work, and spent the whole plane ride planning what I'd say. I even brought a gift, a leather-bound journal for Dad, because he's always scribbling notes about his garden or his lesson plans. I landed in Cleveland, rented a car, and drove 2 hours to our little town, heart pounding the whole way. The party was at my parents' house, same one I grew up in. I got there around 4 p.m., parked a block away so no one would see me, and just sat in the car for a minute, nervous as hell. I could hear music from the backyard, Springsteen, Dad's favorite, and smell charcoal from the grill. I grabbed the journal, fixed my hair in the rearview mirror, and walked up to the house. The front door was unlocked, like always, so I let myself in quietly, thinking I'd slip into the backyard and make my grand entrance. The house felt smaller than I remembered. The living room still had that ugly green couch, the one Mom refuses to replace because it's still good. There were balloons tied to the stair railing, a happy retirement banner over the fireplace, and a stack of cards on the coffee table. I peeked out the kitchen window to the backyard. Maybe 40 people out there, neighbors, Dad's colleagues, my aunts and uncles. Dad was by the grill laughing, wearing a goofy, retired and loving it apron. Mom was fussing over a table of snacks. Jess was there with her boyfriend, and Mike was chasing his kids around. It looked perfect, like a snapshot of everything I'd missed. I took a deep breath and stepped outside. A few heads turned, but nobody said anything at first. Then my Aunt Linda spotted me and gasped, loud enough that Mom looked over. Her face went from confused to shocked, and she dropped the tray of veggies she was holding. "Mark?" she said, like she wasn't sure it was me. Dad turned around, and for a split second, I thought he'd smile, but his face just froze. Jess and Mike stared too, and the whole backyard went quiet, except for the damn Springsteen song still playing. "Surprise?" I said, trying to sound cheerful, but my voice cracked. I held up the journal like an idiot, like it was some kind of peace offering. Mom rushed over and hugged me, but it felt stiff, like she was doing it out of obligation. Dad walked over, shook my hand, like I was some distant cousin, and said, "Didn't expect to see you here." That was it. No "good to see you." No "what the hell, you made it." Just that. The party kept going, but it was weird. People were nice enough, neighbors asking about my job, my uncles making small talk, but my family was off. Mom kept hovering, asking if I was hungry, but she wouldn't look me in the eye. Jess avoided me entirely, sticking to her boyfriend like he was a shield. Mike pulled me aside at one point and said, "You should have called first, man. This is Dad's day." Like I was crashing a wedding or something. I stuck around for maybe an hour, feeling like an outsider in my own childhood home. I gave Dad the journal, and he said, "Thanks. That's thoughtful." But he set it on a table like it was just another card. Nobody asked why I was there or how long I was staying. Nobody brought up the last 6 years. It was like I was a ghost they didn't know how to deal with. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I pulled Mom into the kitchen and asked her straight up, "Why didn't you tell me about this? Did you not want me here?" She got teary and said, "We didn't think you'd come, Mark. You're always so busy and, well, things haven't been great with you and Jess." I pressed her, and she admitted they'd talked about inviting me but decided not to, because Jess said it'd be awkward. Apparently she's still mad about our fight, and nobody wanted to deal with the drama at Dad's party. I felt like I'd been punched. My own family didn't invite me because it might be awkward. I told Mom how much it hurt, how I'd flown across the country to be there, and she just kept saying, "We didn't mean to hurt you," over and over, like a broken record. I asked if Dad knew, and she hesitated, then nodded. That was the worst part. Dad knew they weren't inviting me, and he went along with it. I didn't want to make a scene, so I left. Said goodbye to a few people, told Mom I'd call her later, and walked out. Dad didn't even come to the door. I drove to a motel nearby because I couldn't face the 2-hour drive back to Cleveland feeling like that. I sat on the bed, staring at the wall, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. The next day, I texted Jess, asking if we could talk. She replied, "Not a good time. Maybe later." Mike called me, but it was more of the same. "You shouldn't have just shown up, man. It put everyone in a weird spot." I asked him why nobody told me about the party, and he said, "We figured you didn't care. You haven't been around in years." That stung, because yeah, I've been distant, but I'm still their son, their brother. I didn't think I'd been erased. I stayed in town for a couple days, hoping maybe someone would reach out. Nobody did. I stopped by the house one morning when I knew Dad would be there alone, gardening like always. He was pruning his roses, and we talked for a bit. Not about the party, just about his garden, the weather, my job. It was nice, but it felt like we were strangers catching up at a coffee shop. Before I left, I told him I wished I'd been invited. He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw something like guilt in his eyes. "We should have told you," he said. "I didn't think you'd want to come." I didn't know what to say to that, so I just hugged him and left. I'm back in Seattle now, and I feel lost. I keep replaying the party in my head, wondering if I was wrong to show up unannounced. Maybe I should have called first, like Mike said. Maybe I should have tried harder to stay in touch over the years. But it hurts to know my family made a conscious choice to leave me out. I don't know how to move forward. Part of me wants to call them out, demand an apology, but another part just wants to let it go and keep my distance. I love them, but I don't know if they love me the same way. Has anyone else been through something like this? How do you rebuild with family after something like this? Or do you just let it fade? I don't even know what I'm asking for here. I just needed to write it out. Thanks for reading, if you made it this far. TLDR. Flew across the country to surprise my family for my dad's retirement party after not being home for 6 years. Found out they didn't invite me because my sister thought it'd be awkward. Family acted weird when I showed up, and now I'm questioning everything, feeling hurt and lost, and